Letter 519 by Charles Lamb. Enfield, Saturday, May 24, 1830. Mary's love, yes, Mary Lamb quite well. Dear Sarah, I found my way to Northaw on Thursday and a very good woman behind a counter, who says also that you are a very good lady but that the woman who was with you was not. These things may be so or not. I did not accept her offered glass of wine, homemade, I take it, but craved a cup of ale with which I seasoned a slice of cold lamb from a sandwich box, which I ate in her back parlor, and proceeded for Berkhampstead and lost myself over heath and had a day's pleasure. I wish you could walk as I do, and as you used to do. I am sorry to find you are so poorly, and now I have found my way, I wish you back at Goody Tomlinson's. What a pretty village, Tees! I should have come sooner but was waiting a summons to Barry. Well, it came, and I found the good parson's lady, he was from home, exceedingly hospitable. Poor Emma, the first moment we were alone, took me into a corner and said, "Now, pray, don't drink. Do check yourself after dinner for my sake, and when we get home to Enfield, you shall drink as much as ever you please, and I won't say a word about it." How I behaved you may guess when I tell you that Mrs. Williams and I have written acrostics on each other, and she hoped that she should have no reason to regret Miss Isola's recovery by its depriving her of our begun correspondence. Emma stayed a month with us, and has gone back in tolerable health to her long home, for she comes not again for a 12-month. I amused Mrs. Williams with an occurrence on our road to Enfield. We traveled with one of those troublesome fellow passengers in a stagecoach that is called a well-informed man. For 20 miles we discoursed about the properties of steam, probabilities of carriages by ditto, till all my science, and more than all, was exhausted, and I was thinking of escaping my torment by getting up on the outside, when, getting into Bishop Stortford, my gentleman, spying some farming land, put an unlucky question to me, what sort of a crop of turnips I thought we should have this year. Emma's eyes turned to me, to know what in the world I could have to say, and she burst into a violent fit of laughter, maugre her pale, serious cheeks, when with the greatest gravity I replied, that it depended, I believed, upon boiled legs of mutt. This clenched our conversation, and my gentleman, with a face half wise, half in scorn, troubled us with no more conversation, scientific or philosophical, for the remainder of the journey. Ayrton was here yesterday, and has learned to the full as my fellow traveler. What a pity that he will spoil a wit and a devilish pleasant fellow, as he is, by wisdom. He talked on music, and by having read Hawkins and Burney recently I was enabled to talk of names, and show more knowledge than he had suspected I possessed. And in the end he begged me to shape my thoughts upon paper, which I did after he was gone, and sent him. Some cry up Haydn, some Mozart, just as the whim bites. For my part, I do not care a farthing candle for either of them or for Handel. Cannot a man live free and easy, without admiring Pergolesi? Or throw the world with comfort go that never heard of Dr. Blow? So help me God, I hardly have. And yet I eat and drink and shave like other people, if you watch it, and know no more of stave and crotchet than did the unspaniardized Peruvians, or those old antiquairdiluvians that lived in the unwashed world with Jubal, before that dirty blacksmith Tubal, by stroke on anvil or by summit, found out to his great surprise the gamut. I care no more for Cymosa than he did for Salvator Rosa, being no painter, and bad luck be mine if I can bear that gluck. Old Tycho Brahe and modern Herschel had something in them, but who's Purcell? The devil, with his foot so cloven, for aught I care, may take Beethoven, and if the bargain does not suit, I'll throw him Weber into boot. There's not the splitting of a splinter to choose twixt him last named and Winter. Of Dr. Pepusch old Queen Dido knew just as much, God knows, as I do. I would not go 4 miles to visit Sebastian Bach or Bach, is it? No more I would for Bononcini. As for Novello and Rossini, I shall not say a word about to grieve 'em, because they're living. So I leave 'em. Martin Burney is as odd as ever. We had a dispute about the word heir, which I contended was pronounced like air. He said that might be in common parlance, or that we might so use it, speaking of the heir at law, a comedy, but that in the law courts it was necessary to give it a full aspiration, and to say heir, he thought it might even vitiate a cause if a counsel pronounced it otherwise. In conclusion, he would consult Serjeant Wilde, who gave it against him. Sometimes he falleth into the water, sometimes into the fire. He came down here, and insisted on reading Virgil's Aeneid all through with me, which he did, because a counsel must know Latin. Another time he read out all the Gospel of St. John, because biblical quotations are very emphatic in a court of justice. A third time he would carve a fowl, which he did very ill-favoredly, because we did not know how indispensable it was for a barrister to do all those sort of things well. Those little things were of more consequence than we supposed. So he goes on, harassing about the way to prosperity and losing it, with a long head but somewhat a wrong one harum-scarum. Why does not his guardian angel look to him? He deserves one. Maybe he has tired him out. I am with this long scrawl, but I thought in your exile you might like a letter. Commend me to all the wonders in Derbyshire, and tell the devil I humbly kiss my hand to him. Yours ever. Free thoughts. The version in Ayrton's album differs a little from this, the principal difference being in line 13, primitive for unspaniardized. Lamb's story of the origin of the verses is not necessarily correct. I fancy that he had written them for Novello before he produced them in reply to Ayrton's challenge. When sending the poem to Ayrton in a letter at this time, not available for this edition, written apparently just after Novello had paid the visit, referred to above, Lamb wrote that it was written to gratify Novello. Mary Lamb, or Charles Lamb, personating her, appended the following postscript to the verses in Novello's album. The reason why my brother's so severe, Vincentio, is, my brother has no ear, and Caradori her mellifluous throat might stretch in vain to make him learn a note. Of common tunes he knows not anything, nor rule Britannia from God save the King. He rail at Handel, he the gamut quiz, I'd lay my life he knows not what it is. His spite at music is a pretty whim, he loves not it because it loves not him. Serjeant Wilde Thomas Wilde, 1782–1855, afterwards Lord Truro, a friend of Lamb's, who is said to have helped him with squibs in the Newark election in 1829, when Martin Burney was among his supporters, see vol. V of my large edition, page 341. Here had I permission, I would print Lamb's letter to Ayrton, given in the Boston Bibliophile edition, incorporating the same poem.